the expectations of what it means to be a man in marriage. 3 months into getting married, I lost my job, and the journey of me trying to figure out what manhood looks like for me when I am not the thing that they said.
Yeah.
Men are providers. When you are not the provider, what happens?
And back then when I was single, I had bare female friends.
Brother Ayo,
That's my
the
name,
whole
brother.
of London.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dotun. If you're new here, thank you so much for coming on here. And if you're not, welcome back. We are back with another episode of Things I Wish I Knew Before Marriage. I have some very special guests that I'm very excited to have on here today. I'm going to have them introduce themselves before we get into this.
Hi guys, name is Ayokunu Oduniyi. Been married for it's gonna be 7 years next month. Married to the love of my life, Susan Deborah's Oduniyi. I'm a pastor, I'm an entrepreneur, photographer, mentor, etc. So yeah, I do a lot of things, but above all, my whole life mission is to build, love and to teach, and I do that through all of my different vocations that I do. So I'm happy to be on here today.
Nice.
Yeah, hey guys, my name is Emmanuel Akinfenwa. Some know me as Game Changer. I've been married by God's grace for 8 years to my amazing wife as well, Toby. I'm a father to two amazing girls. Pastor a church, co-founded a church with my wife and my brother. Do a lot of things as well. Do a lot
Honestly,
of things. So we won't go into all of that, but yeah, I do many things. But ultimately, I think one of my core areas of passion is to transmit God's passion to others, to empower them so that they can go and do what God has called them to do fearlessly and in every sense of the word, authenticity. So yeah.
Nice. Okay, I'm really excited about this episode. So to get us started, I just want to know a bit more about your love story. So how you met your wife, and how you knew that this was the person you wanted to make your person. So yeah, let's get into it.
It was so weird hearing love story. Like, yo,
For real. No, for real.
I'm so used to hearing how did you guys meet? But yeah, nah. So we met through Facebook.
Wow.
AK online dating. So back in the day I used to write a lot, blogs, poetry, etc. She's a writer as well. So she noticed that we had a lot of mutual friends, and in her words, I was always on her feed, like who's this guy that everybody knows, and that like, what's the thing about him, and apparently I'm always smiling. So she checked out my profile, my writings, and she gave me some feedback in the inbox, and then I responded back to her, and that we just didn't stop talking ever since, literally. So that's how we connected. It grew from there. So that was June 2009. We got together. I was the first one to tell her that I liked her. I think I was the first one to tell her that I love you. Yeah, I had a lot of firsts in that, actually. I think about it still. Yeah. So, but we didn't last long. We ended in end of August. She ended it actually. end of August. And then we got back together December 2013. December the 13th. I remember the date.
2009 to 2013.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what? The story is long, I'll give you bite-sized version because
Wow.
we broke up and we ended up going to the same church a month later. So we were in each other's spaces for like, yeah. Hey, indeed, man. It's juicy. Next time we'll bring her. We'll do her.
Yes, please.
So so we got together. That one was quite peculiar, because I think that that moment in 2013 it was a story of forgiveness, of where I think I knew that she was the one I was supposed to be with, but there was still elements of my heart that was kind of maybe still had unforgiveness towards how she maybe ended things the last time. So when I was talking about it through one of my boys at the time, he asked me 3 times, "Have you forgiven her?" And I was like, "Yeah, I have." And he asked me again. I said, "Yeah." And the third time he asked me, I paused and I thought, you know what? Let me pray about this. Yeah, I have. And the revelation I had for myself was that I had forgiven her to the point of her being my friend, but not to take her back as a lover. So so I heard at her. So my revelation was forgave her, and then when I actually like released it, then my heart just something happened to me, and then Yeah, literally, my heart opened up to her again. And then yeah, since then we got engaged 3 years afterwards, and then yeah, been married since. So that's our story. So love and forgiveness,
Oh,
the short
beautiful.
version. Literally. So yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. How about you?
Um, yeah, ours is an interesting one. So we met at uni,
Yes. Yeah.
but the aim is funny because he had an involvement as well.
Oh,
He was
wow.
Yeah.
involved somehow. So what's interesting is, Ayo and his brother, one of his brothers, Lamre, they were like, "Oh, we've got a sister coming to
Yeah.
your uni." So we went to
Yeah.
Brunel, or I was going to Brunel. So they were like, "Yeah, we got a sister coming. Just make sure that you're watching out for her." So I was an academic year above her. So on the first night when like freshers moving and stuff like that, I was part of the ACS from the year before. So ACS, we were going around evangelizing the good
Uh,
news of ACS, and yeah, yeah. So we spotted a bunch of black girls, and we just clocked. Yeah, okay, it's gonna be tense because we saw some strong faces.
Oh,
Jeez.
Um,
okay.
we're just like, yeah, should we not? But the kind of person I am, and the guys that I was with were upbeat, were outgoing. So we went at first, it was just hostile. So we had to break the ice. And she was amongst them, but she was at the back, and she's not tall. So it was kind of in my mind. I was thinking, what's this short girl doing at the back? Like, what's she hiding there? But she wasn't like at that moment. In all honesty, I didn't like. She didn't stand out to me. Um, if any, not like I saw her and it's like, yes, whatever. She was just like, I just found it a bit weird. And then over time, what happened is then my friendship circle started getting to close to her friendship circle. And then I started to notice more about her. So she was like the wise woman of the group. If there's any issues, they go to her. She was very intelligent. She was very courageous. She had something about her. And for me, that's what stood out, which is funny because, like, anyway, we're not here to talk about like modern dating standards and stuff like that. But for me, I just find it very, like, I saw virtues that a lot of guys maybe now wouldn't look at first. It's kind of like looks, and then we'll kind of brush over everything else. But I saw strong virtues. And this is not to say that she wasn't attractive to me, but those things just blew me away because I was like, I had said when I came to uni, I'm not interested in getting into a relationship. So I didn't have any plans on getting into a relationship. And later on, I found out that it was the same for her.
Wow.
So, but it was just like, something about this girl that, yeah, just, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, we started to talk a bit. And then one of my boys, one of my close boys, he like, he was trying to do matchmaker. So he recognized that she started to like develop feelings towards me. And then he egged her on to come and tell me. And yeah, that was a peak day still.
Hey.
Because at that moment in time, like I said, the mindset was I'm not trying to get into a relationship. And we were talking, and then she kind of like threw it in the conversation in a smart way, and it threw back the conversation went quiet because I didn't know what I was meant to say back. I didn't want to say words that would lead her on when I knew I'm not ready for something. And my mantra with girls is I'm not going to lead you on. Like, I'll say what, if I like you, I like you. If I don't like you, and if I'm not sure, I don't have the capacity to, you know what I mean? So it was a bit, she was like, is everything okay there? I was like, yeah, you're beautiful. You're a really beautiful, lady. And that was just the worst thing I could have said
Oh,
in the moment.
that's it. You
Yeah.
just said you're
I
really
just said you're beautiful.
okay.
And yeah, so yeah, it was peak from then. So
Hey.
she kind of stopped talking to me. So she got into my boy. She was like, "You told me to say this, like you were like he likes you as well, but he didn't say any of that sort of thing." And then my boy was like, "Yo, bro, why didn't you say anything?" And I was like, "Because I didn't tell you to tell her anything in the first place." And this matchmaking thing, like you already know me because I'd known him from before uni. I was like, I don't tell ladies anything if I'm not sure. And then it was like things went cold for a while. And then after a few weeks, I started to realize that those virtues that I noticed from before, I couldn't stop thinking about those things, and I couldn't stop thinking about the fact that, like, I actually see a wife in this woman, and so that the uphill battle continued. It was now me fighting for her love back, and yeah, we kind of journeyed on that, and then probably at the end of that academic year, we started dating. And then I think 4 years after, about 4 years after, that's when I engaged to her, and yeah, we've been married, yeah, 8 years now. So yeah, that was kind of our journey.
Wow, what a story. What
Indeed.
both serious stories.
Trust you.
Yeah.
Whole episode there.
I'm telling you, trust me, there's loads in between, but yeah.
Wow. Just off the back of that really quickly then,
Mm.
I guess in terms of advice, things that you wish or advice to people before they get married, things that stood out to you about your partners that you needed, that you didn't even know you needed in marriage, and things for people to keep their eyes peeled for. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's a good, I mean, it's a good question. I think the first thing that comes to mind with Susan is that she had an ability. I think I was at a stage of my life where maybe I was in a bit of limbo, or lacked a bit of maybe courage, or just even that extra boost of a faith to step out and doing things. I literally been an entrepreneur like since uni. I've just been working for myself since. So, God really used her to speak to me, like to speak to the future, speak to me now. Literally, like you see now, God really used her to speak that then. So I'm really pro that the woman you should be with should be a woman that can see the future you and is speaking to that future you in the present, and is someone that can actually God can use to speak life, literally. So she was really good at that. Like literally, like that year before we got together officially, like God will just endlessly speaking to her about music. It became annoying, but it was good at the same time. Literally, where the level of insight she had and how on time and in season she was with her words, it really built me in a different way. It encouraged me in a different way. So I think that's something that I would say guys should look at, is like, how does this person add value to your life?
Nice.
You know, so yeah, I can go on, but I'm gonna just stop there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be the main one I'll say.
Yeah,
Add value.
no, that's good. I mean, I'm not sure if there's anything else. I think for me, I think I kind of alluded to it. It was the virtues that I saw in her.
Yeah.
And one of the things for me, I'm an extrovert and I'm a people's person. So, I think that's one of the key things that the Lord uses me to engage with people. And that aura is not easy to be around if you're looking for a partner, because if you have a partner who's kind of like just very close, very withdrawn, is not really a fan of people, people may not take to them very well. And at that point in time, I knew that God was calling me to ministry at some point in time. So it's kind of like, Lord, there's a woman out there that has the ability to keep me in check, but also has the capacity to not necessarily be like me, but people will love her in her own special way, and not be like, oh, this closed off woman, she's stuck up, whatever. And she was exactly that in her group, like wisdom, counsel, intelligence, just there for people, kindness. Like her heart is so pure, and so seeing that in her spoke a lot to me, because I was like, I'm thinking about the future. I know where God is calling me, and I know that for a woman to stand beside me and journey with me, I know some of the things. I don't know all things because I'm not God, but I know some of the things that this woman would need to have. So yeah, those kind of foundational building blocks that kind of complemented who I was.
That's good.
Yeah.
So good, so
It's
good,
good.
so good, so good. Okay.
Good.
All right. From that, let's talk about how you navigated the shift from being a single man to being a married man. What did that look like? Things that you wish you knew before you got married, and kind of share that.
Shift. I mean, do you have specifics?
in
Hey,
friendship, in
I mean, it's a really good question. 'Cause I think, like in man, obviously, I'm an outgoing person, so I knew bare people, and back then when I was single, I had bare female friends.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Brother Ayo, he was coined at the time, Brother Ayo. Once you say
Literally,
Brother Ayo,
that's my
the
name, Brother
whole of
Ayo.
London, everyone knows it's him.
Really?
So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but
Whoa.
obviously, like I was an integral man of God.
Yeah,
Amen.
amen,
Amen.
amen, amen. Yeah.
So there's no stories,
Amen.
no scandals, but I had a lot of female friends, literally. So I think, I think because of maybe the characteristic of my integrity, it wasn't too hard to navigate that into a relationship. I think my maturity or maybe wisdom allowed me to put necessarily boundaries in place in what certain friendships would look like. And for me personally, I think once I met Susan was my girlfriend, I incorporated her into that. So he would tell you, like, even his wife, like she's my friend. I know her since since she was young. So when I got with my wife Susan, introduced her to Toby, obviously, and then yeah, since that day, I can count on my hands how many times Toby has called my phone. Those two, they talk. I've been talking every day for the last 10, 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah, literally. So
Yeah.
half of her bridesmaids, they were my friends first, literally. So
Whoa.
yeah, literally.
Wow,
So
that's good.
like, so yeah, yeah. I want to, I want to, maybe quarter. She'll argue with some, sure. But yeah, a lot of them were my friends, literally, apart from her. So I felt like um, that area was kind of okay. I think being the eldest of three boys, um, shifting from singlehood to married man,
Mm.
like now living with a woman and having to experience firsthand what women, you guys go. That was probably the biggest game changer for me because then it's one thing to know about it because like yeah, this time in the month X, Y, and Z, but then to live with it, hey yeah. So very interested transition. And very interesting transition living with another female in your own space as well.
Mm.
Those things there, I don't think yeah, well, how do you prepare for that? I don't have any sisters, so yeah, so I didn't do uni dorms with other
Okay.
opposite sex, so those were probably like the biggest kind of like adjustments. A lot of our arguments in marriage when we first got was just the differences between man and woman and how we do things and see things. I really learned that in marriage, I'm a man and then my wife is a woman because how we do things, how we see things, our perspective is that one there marriage affirmed my manhood. I'm very grateful for that. But literally, so those were probably like the key things that we had to adjust to from singlehood to husbandhood. So yeah,
Mm.
yeah, that's what I'll say for now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably is a jump off the the earlier point about um living with a woman.
Okay.
Yeah, because obviously I saw my dad do that, but it's not.
It's just
I didn't really probe into it. I didn't really ask him much about it. I didn't really ask, mentors and people that have gone ahead. You just, I think it's one of those things where you for finance, communication, those when you do premarital and stuff like that. Those, but living, with a woman, like,
Okay, sorry, wait.
bruh,
The way you guys are saying this, it's like
yeah,
like,
it's
yeah,
real,
living
man.
it's
with
a
a
real thing.
It's a real
It's a
thing.
real thing. It's a
Chai.
real thing.
Chai.
You have your way of living, and obviously,
Literally.
after uni, I didn't go back home.
Okay.
So living by myself or living with other people, sort of thing. So there's a way of living. There's a way you do your thing that makes sense. And the reality is that even up till now, guys,
Up
I'm
till
sure
now.
it's the same.
Up
There's a
till
way,
now.
like I might put my thing somewhere, and then my wife will come and move it somewhere. I'm like, babe, where's my key? Oh, I moved it to your desk. But it was on the stairs. That's where I'm normally gonna pick it from. Like those kind of things. It's like it, and this is not to say it's a bad thing. It's just one of those things where
Yeah.
to adjust to it. I think there will be a time when you're just like, I think maybe with age you'll just get tired and just be like, okay, this is just how we are.
Yeah.
This is
Okay.
just maybe like later on in life, maybe like when
Yeah.
you're in your 50s and you're just coming and whatever. But up until then, that's probably one. And then I would say another one, I'll squeeze in a small one. Well, it's a big one, but I'll squeeze it in there. Friendships.
Hmm.
Okay, that's a
Yeah,
good point actually.
that could probably be an episode in and of itself. Like I didn't get much wisdom about it,
Okay.
and then the hard reality was after getting married, I moved outside of London. and a lot of things shifted. A lot of my close friends kind of, we got distant, and it wasn't really the same. And then, having to be intentional with the relationships that you had, spoke a lot. And that's why, from kind of that happening, leading up to the wedding and stuff like that, for the years leading up to the wedding, we got a lot more closer. So that was kind of the relationship that we had to lean into, and that's why we are where we are today as friends.
That's true.
So that is a big piece. And then people kind of getting upset. You're married, you don't hang with us anymore. People are upset because I didn't come into London much anymore. It's petrol. It's by then also I'm pastoring as well, so a lot was happening, and a lot of people were still single or just like enjoyment life. Life has changed, unfortunately, so I couldn't do that. And then the final thing is the expectations, like of what it means to be a man in marriage.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That one, I'll end it there because that's a sermon, But the expectations of what it means to be a man in marriage, because after my first 3 months into getting married, I lost my job.
Yeah.
And that one was a journey. So I know I left it on a cliffhanger, but
I was waiting for it.
You know what? As I was saying it, I was like, I can see them using this as a clip and them using some Nollywood sounds. Like, three months into marriage, I lost my job. That was crazy. And the journey of me trying to figure out what manhood looks like for me when I am not the thing that they said. Men are providers. When you are not the provider, what happens?
Wow.
Which is why over time I've developed some understandings and I have a few theories and a few hot takes. But once again, it's not for this episode.
Not even just a crumb.
Okay, so one of them is, I think that it's a dangerous thing, and this is something that I've probably spent the last 2 years more so thinking about. When, especially with the world change, it's not this theory didn't come because the world is changing, but as the world has changed, it's becoming more clearer that maybe your theory is onto something. So as women are making more money in a lot of cases, and sometimes, and in some cases, making more than their husbands, there's the tension or the contention of the fact that men have been socialized to be the primary breadwinners, if not the sole breadwinners in ages past. And I think it is a very dangerous position as a man to think that you are provider, capital P.
Capital P.
Come on.
Capital P.
Because what that then does is it centers you as the be all and end all of all things in your family. And it removes a pressure that belongs to God and puts it on you. And this is why a lot of men are crushed under the pressure of provision, because when you can't do it, you then remove title of man or provider or husband, because you couldn't bring as much as your wife, or you've lost your job, so you can't bring anything at all. And that's when we look at our community. That's why if you look at the stats, when we look at men, we're seeing that suicide rates, men are higher than women. But then when you break it down even more, black men are at the top of the suicide rates for men. So, and I think a lot of that it has got to do with the way we were raised, the way we were socialized. I think a lot of it has to do with the pressures of what it means to be a man, especially for us who are African men, the implications of what it means to be a man, who are Christian men as well, like the implications of that as well. So my one hot take in this moment is I don't think that God expects men to be provider, capital P. There's an element where, you might bring something to the table, but primary reliance should be on God first. Because when you don't have anything, both of you should be looking to God. But if all the pressure's on you, then you're just like, bro, I ain't got anything. Maybe my wife doesn't feel like I'm a man. Maybe even if she's not saying it to be me, the way we've been socialized, we'll be thinking about it in our minds. We'll pray from a place of anxiety, fear, pressure. When by the time you have kids in the picture, do you know how much it will kill you? The fact that you're like, I can't even put bread on the table, or I don't feel like I'm doing enough. Like it's a very damaging thing. And I saw that like in that moment, thank God for the wife that I had, in a sense whereby like when I was going through, it took me like 9 months before I got another job again. And my wife held down the fort. And in those moments, she still affirmed my manhood. She still affirmed my leadership. She challenged me like to continue going towards the passions that God has given me. So most of my time out, I never felt down. There were days when I felt down, but because of the woman God gave to me, I never felt like I was any less of a man. And so as time has gone on, I'm seeing how when you have conversations like this or men's group and stuff like that, this is one of the things that does come up. Like a lot of men are losing their jobs, or maybe men are not making as much as their wives and stuff like that, and it pains them. And I think there's now is the time, to be very honest. I was gonna say there's coming the time, but the time is right now.
The time is
I
now.
sound like Jesus Christ.
The time is now.
But yeah, the time is now. We have to have that conversation as men. Are you any less of a man if you can't do X, Y, and Z? Are you any less of a man if you're out of a job? Have you lost God's leadership plan for your life just because you don't have a job? Absolutely not. But the way we've been trained and reared has put those things in our subconscious, and we feel like that. And so when like we're alone with our thoughts, and those moments do come in marriage, like where's your mind gonna be at? And that's why for me that was one of the biggest ones that I had to really confront early on. Thank God it happened early on, because then I could address it. And as time has progressed, there are moments where it might not be about providing or whatever. It might be something else, and it's like, because you can't do that, or because you maybe made a mistake, or you failed at that, even failure. That's something that you spoke about recently. But even failure, like, how does that redefine what it means to be a man or a husband? No. So yeah, sorry, I was getting all philosophical.
No, that was really powerful. MVP, Toby.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow,
powerful.
so powerful.
You don't know what you're going to get. And because you were so used to this was how things were working, you're like, okay, you think you're patient. Okay, fine, let your wife be pregnant.
It's not that you know exactly what to prepare for, but how do you withstand the pressures?
Like, as brothers, don't be too prideful. Like, we all, by God's grace, we want to have successful marriages. So put all the thing to the side.
Have a village.
Yeah. Word.
Marriage was not designed for just you two alone on an island. So you two are one. Go and find another one.